Hey guys, good morning. Happy Thursday. The sun is back out in Virginia. We had a few days of a lot of rain and gray. Reminds me of Normandy, France, where I'm from originally, where you can get that type of weather for weeks on end. But I'm going to make another video on traction, and I'll make more videos about them, and hopefully you guys will chime with some questions that kind of help me focus in the conversation, because that's the one downside that's hard to do in these videos. It's kind of hard to have a conversation with yourself. So that's why I'm keeping them short. I'm doing a bunch of them. Hopefully one thing I say will trigger something, someone ask a question. But traction is everything. And I know everything's probably a harsh or extreme word to use, but ideas are important. Again, I'm not saying the ideas are not important, but you can have the best idea, you can have the best solution for whatever it is, but if you can't figure out how to get traction for it cost effectively, because you got to remember, right, and this is the mistake, and we've all made this mistake, and I've still made this mistake even after I made the mistake the first time, is we all think as entrepreneurs, because we're so excited about what we're working on, we're so excited about the idea, and that's okay, that's great, that's what's going to get you to climb those walls and be hopefully successful, that we get so tied up that we don't put enough time to really think through how we're going to get traction for this business. How can we get this to a customer? What's the game plan? How are we going to get this out in front of the customer? What's that cost? What are the different channels? What do those channels cost? What's the competition for that noise, for that attention? It's really, really, really crucial that you think through that. As hard, if not harder, than the idea itself. And you guys have heard about MVP, which was made famous in the last 10, 15 years, minimal viable product, and when you're launching an idea. And that's really true, right? As an idea, you really want to start figuring out what's your minimum viable product. What's the easiest, simplest way that you test the idea, that you put together a version of your idea to be able to out and test it, because until you go out and test it, you're not going to know obviously what the customers want or their feedback, but most importantly the traction. What's it like to get traction, and so I can talk through some of the examples that I've had in my entrepreneurial career. Years ago, for example, kind of right off the bat, Sushi Quick, and I've done some videos of that. It's Sushi Gadget. I've always wanted to invent a sushi gadget. Not a sushi gadget, a gadget. It just come that it was a sushi gadget, because one time my wife and I trying to make sushi at home, and it was really hard, and we love sushi, and so that's when I had the idea. Well, hey, I'm going to hire some engineers and come up with an idea, and that's when I launched Sushi Quick. And so it was a good idea. Part of the reason, because when I did that, I had been long enough an entrepreneur to know that traction was really difficult, right? And what I liked potentially about the idea is that it was very niche, right? It wasn't, I always tell folks, I didn't invent a new blow dryer, something that's very difficult to build, and the traction is very, very hard to get. You're competing with a lot of big industries, a lot of big companies with big money. A sushi gadget, there's not much competition, not many big companies, pretty niche, right? So niche at the time, and now it's actually changed, it's become more competitive. But when I started, niche meant that the Google Ads word, the traction online was affordable, right? The keywords were pretty cheap, that I could, because you gotta remember, right, and you can look this up, and a lot of people don't forget about this, that especially on the internet, if you can get 0.5% conversion rate when you're selling a product on all this kind of what we call cold traffic, that's actually a pretty decent conversion rate, right? So even if we call it one out of 100, so it's going to take 100, let's just say round figure, it's going to take 100 clicks for one sale. Well, you got to be sure that either the click words are cheap and you can afford 100 pretty easily, right? Or you got enough margin in your product that when you do sell that 1 out of 100, you can pay for advertising, right? And that's before you've paid yourself, for your product, obviously, your overhead. And these are things that you really have to think through, as important, if not more important, your idea. And so I launched Sushi Quick, and the great thing that helped launch Sushi Quick was Kickstarter. And I always tell entrepreneurs that if you have a if you have an idea, especially for a physical product, go to Kickstarter, Indiegogo. That's essentially free eyeballs, free momentum, free marketing, and you get feedback on your product. And I can't thank Kickstarter and the backers we had back then enough. And again, that was over 10 years ago. But that was a huge part of lighting the fire to get the traction we needed to get going. Because from there, from being on Kickstarter again, which was free, right? You only pay for Kickstarter if your funding's successful, then you pay a percentage of that. But it's basically free traffic. And from that Kickstarter campaign, we had DIY Network that had a show. I don't know if it's still around, called I Want That, and they had reached out from that, saying, hey, the product looks really cool. Can you send us one, and we'll feature on television show, which they did, ended up on television, which that led to more traction, and then kind of viraled out of that, right? And you need that early kind of fire being lit affordably and possibly free to grow the company, right? Like Facebook, as another example, they didn't pay for all those customer acquisitions, every single customer they acquired. Facebook viraled out, right? It viraled out of Harvard into another university and viraled out into society. And when you start, I don't care what Mark Zuckerberg says. First of all, his original idea, let's not forget, was a platform to rate women, right? It was not what Facebook is today. Was not his original idea, right? Let's just say he was inspired, right? I guess I'll keep it politically correct. He was inspired by others to pivot into something else, and even then, he had no idea what it's going to be, right? And this is where luck slash timing slash, you can create your own timing, but viral, you don't plan for going viral, but that's what makes and breaks the company. Because we can go back and look, and I guarantee you that when Facebook was launching, there were other similar platforms, right? Facebook was not the only one. That's just the one that ended up viraled out enough to get enough traction to grow. And that's really the biggest key out of all this, that people who've never been entrepreneurs, people that report on entrepreneurship that are in the news, have no idea, because they never lived it. They don't truly understand what it takes to get a business off the ground, how hard it is. I mean, look how busy we all are, right? I mean, I'm doing these videos in between all the things I've going on in my life, right? Which I've told you guys, forgive me for lack of editing, and I'm here in the car driving. This is the free time that I have to share this knowledge with you guys, that hopefully somebody can come across and it'll be, it can help them along with their business, right? And I've been clear about that from day one, that don't expect fancy editing and all that. I mean, because the guys I look for on YouTube, I don't need the fancy editing. I'm just looking for the raw message and experience. That's what you're getting here. So think about that, because and again, you're not going to know either. I'm not asking you, because you can't have it all solved before you launch, but have a pretty darn idea, right? The industry you're getting into, and how long is it going to take you to get a customer, right? What's the cycle of the customer acquisition cost? The other thing we did is talking about traction, right? One of the other businesses that I invested over the years was a fitness gym, franchise called Snap Fitness back in 2008, when the economy was falling apart in real estate. I was looking for other ways to diversify, and I always was interested in the franchise business and fitness. Being a fitness guy, really interested in fitness, I thought it'd be a good idea to help people get healthier, and so I was investing in that franchise. Well, when did we open up? Obviously, we opened up January 6th, right? And the New Year's resolution that everybody talks about is so true. So timing, right? We didn't open it in the dead of summer or early spring or late fall. We opened it right after New Year's, right? And because of that, we had a lot of people coming in, and we got to enough members where we were breaking even about 45 days in, right? From all those members that we got from the January rush. So you want to think through that about your business. What's the timing? When are you launching? What's the cycle of the business, right? When are people purchasing? If you're trying to sell a B2B and you're selling to large companies, what's that purchase cycle like? Is it 2 years, right? It could take easily 2 years. And again, that 2-5-10 rule that I mentioned in my other videos, and I need to do specifically another video on that. It takes you 2 years to really start to figure out what you're doing as a business, 5 years to maybe start to build something, and 10 years to truly build something. And it's so true. I've seen it in all the years I've been an entrepreneur. I've seen it over and over again. Me personally, with other people. Again, there's exception to the rule. In the media, you can't listen to the media, right? Or take it with a grain of salt, I guess maybe is the way I should say it. They feature a lot of the unicorns, a lot of the outliers, the 1% chance. It can't happen. I'm not saying that. I'm not sitting here. It can't happen. I don't want you to think I'm some entrepreneur that's trying to poo-poo and say that's not going to happen. It can absolutely happen, right? But you also got to play the odds. And so by playing the odds, you want to make sure you do your homework, right? And again, I'm not saying you don't do it. I still encourage you, if it's something that you're really interested in, I was going to use the word passionate, which you need as well. Passion's great, right? But when business gets really tough, it kind of tends to wear down a little bit, and then it comes down. When you have hard days, I like what I'm doing. When you have great days, I'm passionate about what I'm doing. And there's some days you're like, I want to quit. And that's another video I'm going to do about wanting to quit. It happens to all of us. All entrepreneurs who tell you they haven't had days, a lot of days, where they feel like quitting, they're lying to you. It's perfectly part of it. You're human. Some days are really bad, and some days you just want to curl up and quit. And that's normal. That's a normal human reaction. But it comes also with the territory, and it comes with the game plan of being an entrepreneur. And so again, I say it over and again. I'll say in these videos. And part of the reason I'm putting together these videos is because I'm a little sick and tired of the media portraying entrepreneurship in one way, and then a lot of hype on the internet that's trying to take advantage of first-time entrepreneurs to take their money, to feed off their passion, their dream, to line their pockets, and not tell the whole story, right? So here, I'm going to tell you guys the whole story, right? The good and the bad. Just so you can think through, my goal here is that hopefully you get enough tidbits from the videos I'm putting together that you increase the odds of your business being more successful at the end of the day. And if I can do that, then I've done my job with this channel, right? And again, I've wanted to do this for years. And now I feel like I've been an entrepreneur over 25 years, pretty much my whole life. And I feel like I'm at a point where I have enough battle wounds and successes and failures and all the other stuff that I can truly share genuinely with you guys about what it's like, and have you guys being as well prepared as you can be going into it, right? And that's the point of this channel. So please subscribe, like, you guys know the drill, and comment. By you leaving comments, especially questions, if you can, I've just here spent 13 minutes talking to myself, well, talking to you guys, but I'm not having a back and forth. What helps with the comments is ask me a question, ask me a hard question on Traction. Some of the businesses, again, you can Google me, you can see some of the businesses I'm working on and I've done in the past, and ask me the hard questions on Traction, or whatever the questions that will allow me to do another video that goes deeper into the topic, right? Because right now I'm just covering kind of the high level, and I'll probably will start doing, most likely, if I don't start, if I'm going to put these videos up, right? And if after a while, if I don't get comments, then I will try to get more specific. But it's kind of hard when I haven't covered kind of maybe the high level, and I get people, and I get the conversation going, and that's the goal of these early videos, is to get the conversation going. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, and have a great day.